So this is the Fortress Eben Emael as it looks today. This is the main entrance, the south entrance as it's called. Well, it's the only entrance. And up there on the roof of the plateau of the hill is the where the defences were held. They weren't actually defences as such. They were artillery guns which could sort of pick off targets at various places. But they covered the bridges over both the Meuse and the Albert Canal. In this place were the administrative blocks which caused all the problems as to why the fortress was captured. At this point here, when the alert was sounded at 00:30 on the morning of the 10th of May 1940, and by about 3 hours later, in the case of a war, when it looked like war was starting, in the case of war, these buildings were to be destroyed. They had the administrative blocks, they had the filing cabinets and all the rest of it. So the commandant was using the time to bring in his filing cabinet, his paper clips, and all the rest of it from there and put it into the fort, which is there. Before destroying these buildings. Now, the reason he did this incredibly stupid maneuver was because he believed that the Germans were sort of walking in and probably by wheelchair. Now, Germany's only about 20 kilometers from here or so, past Maastricht, through the Dutch Limburg area. That's a bit of Holland that sort of stretches down, a little bit protrudes in between Belgium and Germany. And so he thought he had plenty of time. As it happened, the thing was under attack on the roof, where the German gliders had actually landed. And because of this, and because of the fact that the artillery was then under attack, the people who were actually taking these paper clips out and all the rest of it were in fact the same artillery gunners who were meant to be defending the place. And when they actually landed, they were unable to offer anything in the way of resistance. On the roof there were two machine guns, mitrailleuse mitrailleuse machine gun in French, and they were effectively, being old German equipment, they didn't really work very well. Apart from that, the Germans had taken a German equipment from the First World War, that is, which had been adapted to the Belgian design. The attack came in partially from the west, which confused the Belgians. Not only that, there had been some Belgian planes had been knocked out by the Belgian artillery fire, so it looked as though in fact they were reconnaissance planes or something of that nature. Whatever else, I mean, the stupidity of this commander, but there was also other problems. The artillery itself could only be controlled. He had he couldn't have freedom of action except in extreme circumstances if 4 other units were actually knocked out. So what happened was this: is that units from outside the fort would telephone or radio into the fort and say, knock this out, well, on targets which had already been pre-laid, and they were then fired upon. Clearly there were problems though with very bad morale within it. The national servicemen who didn't want to be here. Problems of language. This was then within the Flemish-speaking area, but it was part of the French-speaking Liège region, and this was further compounded. Not only that, the troops serving inside here were not actually from this region, which was done deliberately to avoid any danger of potential espionage. So the officers themselves were in fact frightened of what was going on. This is the largest fortification in the world, single fortification, I think in the world. I'm not certain. It was built between 1932 and 1935. So I mean, they spent all this money on this state-of-the-art fortification, and they put rubbish weapons in it, which weren't even cleaned and oiled properly. I mean, it's incredible to believe this place was captured only 5 years after it came into service. Looking at this from a military point of view, all I can say is it's total and utter shambles.